3 out of every 4 couples that goes to the altar is going to fail. That breaks my heart. I want everyone to be happily married. It takes a lot of work.
You've been there. Loved too fast, trusted too soon, given everything, and gotten crumbs in return. But this time, you're doing it differently. You're healing first.
You can't be good in relationship if you can't be good being alone. Love yourself, feel like a whole being, and not trying to find somebody else to fill and make yourself whole.
Building wholeness before connection. Because you finally understand the right person can't complete you.
It scares me more when somebody says we've never had an argument than somebody that says we argue all the time. Because if you're two horses pulling in a different direction, you're never going to get where you're going. Get aligned, slow down, stop.
They can only meet you whole, ready, unapologetically you.
Conflict's not going to draw you closer, and the goal of conflict is to make you closer after every single one.
Let's rebuild love the way it was meant to be. This is the Jason Magar Podcast.
My name is Jason Magar. I am a licensed counselor. I am a serial entrepreneur. I have been in the corporate world, worked in a Fortune 500 company, ran many different large organizations. My wife is the CEO of the largest group of medical providers for one specialty. I asked God to break my heart for what breaks his heart, and he pointed me to relationships. And I've spent 18 years studying different philosophies on relationship. I got a master's in clinical mental health. I also have a degree in accounting business, so I'm a little diversified in education. And I want to give people a framework that allows them to have a relationship that mimics the way that you do your job. That will allow you to actually understand how to run your marriage and your relationship like you would run a company. Jason, I've never run a company. It's okay. When you're married, you're running a company. You have financials. You have things you have to do. You have goals. It's very similar to running a company. I want to make it simple for you to follow. I want to give you the framework, because if I die and the world is no different than me being here, what was my purpose in being here? I want to have an impact on relationship. I want to have an impact on marriages. I want people to succeed in marriage. It takes the exact same amount of work to have a bad marriage as it does to have a good marriage. It's just where you divert your energy. I want you to succeed in relationship, in life, and in business, if that's your choice. But do marriage in a way that draws you close to your spouse, and you can have the life that you want. You can give your kids the gift of communication, conflict resolution, healthy parent marriage. Then they can go give that to their kids. I want to break generational curses. If you spend the hard work breaking the curse, you break it for the next 3 generations. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for everyone that's going to come after you. I'm just going to tell you how to do some work to get you in a place where you didn't know you could achieve.
My name is Cameron Alford. I like helping people build confidence, and whether it's their relationship, working on cars, which is what I have an automotive YouTube channel I do full time. My why in life is helping people align themselves with what truly matters the most to them so that they can live a fluid, fun, enjoyable life that has a bunch of impact and it's purpose driven. A lot of that has to do with relationships. And so I met Jason. I'm here to help him facilitate his show and teach him everything I can and show him everything I can about creating content, as well as me learning everything I can from him about relationship and all aspects of life to build my confidence up so I can continue to share everything I'm learning with people I encounter to build their confidence up and just have a community of people around me that want to live a purpose-driven life and enjoy this short, sweet life that we get to live.
The book that I'm writing is The Business of Relationships. It is taking and correlating how you do marriage with how you do your work life. The first chapter, start here. The first chapter is preparing for the job you want. That is gaining the skills you need to be in a successful relationship. The next chapter is about the interview phase. It's how do you find the right candidate to fill the job as your partner or spouse. The third is the probationary period, where you start to get more benefits, but you're not entitled to everything that a spouse is entitled to. You can still get rid of the person without the consequences, but it's much more intense. It's doing a lot of harder work to make sure when you launch a business, you write a business plan to make sure that it's going to be successful. This is really the business plan phase of your relationship. Then chapter 4 is starting your company. That's your wedding. In the first few years of your marriage, how do you set yourself up for success? The next chapter is how do you run the business? What are some frameworks? I'm going to give you some templates for being able to do a spouse review. You get reviewed at work. Why don't we do that with our spouse? Sit down, set your goals every year, give you the ability to point your relationship in a direction that allows you to grow the entire time, help you not get complacent. If you get complacent in business, you go out of business. If you're not attentive to your business fails. So giving you the mindset and the framework to run a successful business. Mine is the Magar Incorporation. That's our last name, and it's our corporation. Angel and I'm the CEO and the CFO. Angel is the Chief Operating Officer. If it's operations, you deal with Angel. If it's the executive decision or the finances, you deal with me. We have defined roles and responsibilities. We check in with each other. We make sure our business is going well. We have marriage reviews. We have weekly business meetings. We call them family meetings. You have staff meetings when you have a staff. You meet with them once a week. You talk with them. You see how the week went before. You see how the week goes. You plan out the week ahead of you. Really become systematic in the way that you run your relationship so that you set yourself up for success, just the way you would succeed as a business. We're also going to do mergers and acquisitions. That's for people who've had marriages or businesses that have failed. How do you do blended families? How do you bring two different cultures together in a way and blend them into being one company? A lot of companies that we have bought along the way have failed when we brought them in because the two cultures didn't blend. A lot of marriages, the higher divorce rates are second marriages because you're not doing it in a way that's systematic to set yourself up for success. That's what I want to give you the framework to do. How do we do everything from getting ready to be married to running and operating a marriage and restoring after a failed business or marriage? This book will give you the framework, and it's the passion of my life, and it's been in my heart for years to do, but I wanted to make sure that I knew how to give it to you in a way that would be successful, that applies all the business knowledge that I've learned, that my wife's learned, in a way that will allow you to be a successful running marriage.
We're going to take a quick break in the episode. Something super important we want you to be aware of is there's a link in the description. You can click that. It will take you to a page, tell you more about the Business of Relationships book, and you can get notified by entering in your email. We're not going to bombard you with any marketing emails. We're just going to keep you updated when the book is released and you can get your hands on it first right away. This is going to be an awesome piece of content to have around, to help others, help yourself, refer back to, and we can't wait for you to have it. And we want you to be the first one to be notified if you're here watching these episodes. We really, really appreciate you. Let's get back in the episode. What usually goes down on a first date versus what do you think should go down on a first date?
I think most first dates are trying to impress the person, make sure they're cute enough for you. You're focused on the externals and you're not purpose-driven. The first date should be very purposeful, very intentional, and very much, this is how I want my spouse to be. Angel and I's first date, I ran through an agenda and she's like, really, dude? This is just a date. I'm like, don't want to waste our time. So let's have the conversation up front. I went on a lot of dates and the first 5 minutes, I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to work. And I really wish I would have just done coffee instead of dinner, because then I had to sit through a dinner and know I was going to pay at the end. Just go and say, this is what I'm looking for. Are you in? Give the person the ability to say, yeah, I'm not that serious. I just want to play around. I really just want to hook up. Wow. You're not for me. Thanks. I'll save us both some time. Part ways. People ask me, how do you meet the right person? And I tell them you have to become the right person. That's the way you meet the right person. I want you to become the right person so you're able to find the right person. Then you're able to do relationship in a way that brings joy to each of you. Marriage and relationship is hard. You've got to find somebody that's willing to work as hard as you are to make your relationship be successful. Most people get into a relationship and they've never read one book about relationships. They've never read one article. They haven't watched one video on what it takes to have a successful relationship. And they think they're just going to succeed at marriage. I spent the time studying, and I want to give away everything that I've ever learned about relationships to you so that you have an advantage when you go into a relationship and you're able to succeed. Use the time I've spent studying to apply it to your life, and hopefully I'll light the fire in you to start studying relationships so that you can give it away to others and help them find the right person by being the right person and then doing the hard conversations over and over again to make relationships successful.
If you're in a relationship and everything is really easy and smooth all the time, why should you be terrified?
Because you're not doing relationship. You're just doing the fun stuff. You're not having hard conversations. You're just cruising along. It scares me more when somebody says we've never had an argument than somebody says we argue all the time. If you argue all the time, at least you're talking. If you are so in sync that everything is unicorn and rainbows, you're setting yourself up for a fall. When I do premarital, I tell people I'm Debbie Downer. Not because I don't believe in marriage, not because I don't love, because I want you to understand marriage is hard. It's hard work. Dating is the sprint. You cross the finish line from the sprint and you start running a marathon. And it's not a defined marathon, it's an ultra marathon. It's not the 26 miles, it's the 100 and whatever. And I want you to succeed when you cross that finish line from the sprint and you start the marathon. You don't just walk out and start running a marathon and go, yeah, I can do this. You have to train. Train yourself for the marathon that you're going to do. That's marriage. Start having hard conversations. Start talking about the things you don't agree on. Now you're starting to do relationship.
Chapter 1 was about all the preparation. Walk us through the quick overview of what we covered and what the main takeaways were.
If you want a job, you have to get the qualifications and prepare for that job. You want to be a brain surgeon, you can't just walk into a hospital and say, let me be a brain surgeon. So when you're dating or getting ready to date, you need to prepare yourself and take care of your past hurts, habits, hangups, and get self-confidence, self-love. And that way you will be positioned to find a partner that you can love fully.
What do you wish men or women understood before dating?
You only attract people as mentally healthy as you are. So make sure that you're mentally healthy. Make sure that you are in a good spot. A relationship's not going to complete you. You should be two whole individuals able to give all of yourself to each other. So slow down, do the work. Don't look for somebody else to fix the voids in your life. Fix the voids in your life. Then you're ready to give to somebody else.
This is obviously a subject I'm assuming you cover often when you counsel people.
I do. Lots of people want to just rush into dating, and I encourage them all the time, slow down and make sure that you are in a position. And it saddens me how many people don't love themselves.
Why do you think the people jump into it without this step usually?
They want to feel loved and they want to feel validated by somebody else. They're not willing to take the time to be comfortable being alone. And I say you can't be good in relationship if you can't be good being alone. And it takes the ability to just be with yourself, comfortable, love yourself, feel like a whole being, and not trying to find somebody else to fill and make you whole. Make yourself whole.
Is that valid though, wanting to skip that? Like, do you blame people for that? Or is that a sign of something like a flawed?
It's natural to be wanted. It's natural to be loved. We're designed to be in relationship. And so the desire to be in relationship and make yourself feel loved is easier than slowing down and doing the work and saying, you know what, it's going to take me a little bit longer. But if I do and I invest the time to prepare myself, I will be in a relationship that can be successful.
Something that goes through my mind is, if someone's listening to this right now that they're thinking about this information for someone else, whether it's their kid, their friend, spouse, whatever, what would you tell them and how to support them in the way of finding themselves so that they attract the type of person that this person that's listening feels like they deserve?
Everybody's in a battle you know nothing about. And you really need to encourage somebody to do the hard work. And I just had a client yesterday tell me he's been carrying something for 37 years and he finally offloaded it because he was willing to stop and do the work. It freed him to be a better husband, be a better father, and allowed him to actually, for once in his life, be free. That's how I want people to go into a relationship. I don't want them to go in there limping in. I want them to go in like you're going for the job you've always wanted. You're prepared for the interview. You have all the skills you need. Most people think they can communicate, and miscommunication is 95% of problems in relationships. You say something, it's heard differently, then you spend the next hour fighting about what you said versus what the person heard. The ability to actually understand that perception is reality and accept that that other person heard something that you didn't mean, until you validate their reality, they're not willing to hear the explanation of what you intended to say. So if you want to just rush into a relationship and try to do it with somebody else, you can, but you're going to be more successful and you're going to attract somebody else who's a good communicator if you're a good communicator yourself. Because somebody who's not a good communicator and you are, you'll be like, yeah, this isn't working because I'm not quite getting what I need when we talk. And it will help you attract the right type of person, somebody who already knows how to do conflict, somebody who already knows how to communicate. And those are all skills. Most of them aren't taught in the home, and that is one of the downsides. But it's not something you're either born with or not. You can learn to do it. It just takes time and work. Do that time and work. Then your relationship will be easier. Then the conflict will be what it's designed to be, the workout for your relationship that draws you closer together, that you know your relationship will succeed. Most people don't go into a relationship hoping they fail. Most people don't go into marriage going, man, I can't wait till we're the 50% that gets divorced. They want it to work, but they don't understand how much work it really takes. Just like a job. If you don't have the skills and you go in and you oversell yourself and you get put into the position, you're going to fail. It's the same thing with a relationship. If you're not qualified, if you're not ready, slow down. Get it. Get what you need to do, then pursue the relationship.
When you're talking about that, it was making me think I shouldn't be saying those repetitive words. I watch it back and I get mad at myself. It seems like there's like a correlation in business terms between efficiency and communication. Like if you want to be more efficient in your relationship, the more you learn how to communicate in all areas, it increases your efficiency of like, would you agree? And like, is that a good way of speaking to that?
A lot of people don't do work communication well. And if you learn to do communication well, it will actually make you more efficient at work. It'll make you a better communicator. It will increase and improve the relationships in work. Communication makes all relationships work. If you do communication and conflict resolution well, the rest of the relationship will take care of itself. And that's what people don't focus on. They get caught up in the noise. They get caught up in the intention of what they meant to say versus what the person heard. And really just learning whatever somebody hears is reality. And you have to deal with that reality if you're willing to validate somebody's feelings, even though you had no idea how they heard what you said. And I use the example, if I tell my wife, hey, let's go to the gym, and she hears me call her unattractive. If I don't deal with the fact that I just called my wife unattractive, she'll listen to nothing else that I say. That's her reality. I had no intention of making her feel that I didn't find her attractive. The only reason I was asking her to go is because she makes me go when I don't want to go. But if I don't deal with that, she's not willing to hear what I have to say. And if you can grasp that concept and really practice it and understand it, it will allow you to actually connect in relationship. When you spend an hour arguing about your intention and the other person's not validated, that's going to push you further apart. Conflict's not going to draw you closer. And the goal of conflict is to make you closer after every single one. So it makes you more efficient in relationship, but it takes more time up front. And the ability to work through and learn how to do that communication is actually how you establish and grow the relationship. So until you have the ability to communicate, then you can go into conflict resolution because you're able to communicate and apply the skills and tools for conflict resolution. It's the same as in business. I love doing negotiations because I actually know how to communicate. And when I say something and their face doesn't respond in the way that I expected, I'm like, what'd you hear me say? Like, oh, you said you'd have this done by here. Wow, I miscommunicated. Let me clear that up. They're like, thanks, I'm glad you did that. It makes everything work better because all I care about is my message received correctly? If it's not, I miscommunicated. That's it.
Going from preparation to then having I guess chapter 2 would be going over the know-how, the expertise, and becoming more knowledgeable in what's needed to have, I would say, a harmonious relationship, autonomous in a way. How would you describe that transition from chapter 1 to 2? What are you wanting the individual reading to transition to?
So chapter 1 is, hey, I want to get this job. So you do all the qualifications, all the skills you need to get this job. This is the job interview. You are now, I want people to look at dating as a job interview. When I hire somebody, I have a job description and I have 10 things on my job description. If I hire somebody that only has 8 of those qualifications, it's the 2 that I didn't pay attention to that's going to make that person fail. So when you go to dating, I want the person to understand all I'm doing is interviewing people. Do you have all the qualifications I need in a spouse? Make your job description. It's your non-negotiable list. Be specific. This person must have this. They must be able to communicate. Then when you're dating, practice communication. You're interviewing their communication skills. If they're not where you want them, thanks. Appreciate the dinner. I'd say just go to coffee, save yourself money. Do a pre-interview. When I hire candidates, I get the resumes, I call all of them, and I do a pre-screening with them. Pre-screen. Before you go in to take them into the actual interview, just do pre-screening.
In terms of like dating, what does that look like?
Yeah. Then dating is...
Or is that what you're speaking to?
Yeah, that is dating. Phase 2 is dating. That's the interview phase. I want to interview candidates. And I always get picked on because I'm the dumpster diver at the job because they screen out a lot of good candidates because they don't know what the skills are for the position. Recruiters know certain things, but they scrap a lot of resumes. And I always told them, give me all the resumes. Some of the best hires I ever had were the ones that the recruiter screened out because they didn't have the specific words in their resume. I'd call them. I'd get that pre-screening. I'd ask. I'd let them clarify because maybe they just didn't write it the way they should have on the resume for the AI to pick it up and then the recruiter to say, these ones are qualified. Spend the time just talking. And people want to do marriage when they should be doing dating. They buy houses together. They buy cars together. They commingle. They move in together.
Pets together.
Buy a pet together. You're connected. It makes leaving harder. I don't hire people and say, okay, you come in and do everything. Okay, you've got full access to my entire business. Run the checking account. Do whatever you need. I trust you. That's how a lot of people approach dating. They're like, they just open up their heart because they want to be loved. They want to be validated. They want to be needed. They want to be in relationship. And they're willing to give up all of themselves when all of yourself is not required in an interview.
Well, what do you say, though? Because I feel like that's so hard when you're young and your frontal lobe is not developed all the way, especially for males, but I'm assuming younger females deal with it and you're stuck in that drug induced state of infatuation with
Mhm.
somebody that you speak to, how do you help them? Because I feel like when you hear about people in maybe their late 20s and 30s dating or even 40s, they do such a good job of protecting themselves and going at the right pace that makes sense to make it a win-win and not get stuck in the weeds or the trenches that they didn't need to step into. How do you protect yourself from that when you're young and you don't really have that natural instinct? Is it just who you're around?
It's how you approach it. And when I do job interviews, it's very analytical. I'm analyzing the person.
But what is the what that's easy for you to say though. But like think about like put yourself in the shoes of a 20-year-old
Mhm.
person and you're just wanting to go have fun and go, meet up with someone on a first date or whatever. What does that even look like from a state of mind perspective? Like when you're on the date, like what are the things you're talking about? What are the things you're looking out for? Like are you just there to have a good time? Are you there to like ask questions? Like what do you recommend that person to like start doing?
Ask questions, start talking. And as you're dating, get them in a situation where you see them frustrated. Get them in a situation where they get angry. When you're at a job interview, you're on your best behavior. You dress up, you look nice, you want to present well, you make sure your hair's perfect. When you're dating, you put your best clothes on. It's all about trying to impress and woo. And if you approach dating very, very analytical, here's my non-negotiable list. All I'm doing is evaluating you against my non-negotiable. And I want people to be specific. I was very, very specific in what I put on my non-negotiable. And I used the person must already be working out. At that time of my life, I spent 3 hours a day in the gym, 6 days a week. And I'd meet somebody and they're like, oh, I want to go to the gym with you. I'm like, great. We get to the gym 15 minutes in. They're like, are we done? I'm like, I'm not even done warming up. I'm just finishing that. So one of my non-negotiables is they must already be in the gym because the person liked the way I looked because of the work I was doing, but I didn't want to have to explain why I was in the gym as long as I was. My wife was already working out. She had a six-pack. She knew what it took to look good in the gym, and she's been my best workout partner. Some of our best communication was every day after work, we'd meet, we'd go to the gym, and we'd talk. In dating, when you introduce sex, you are releasing PEA, which is the chemical agent, and it's called the love drug. It's our brain's chemical mix that's used for a mother to bond to a child when nursing so that that child survives. If you're introducing sex to somebody in second date, you're now bonding yourself to that person in a way that a mother bonds itself to a child to make sure that it survives. Don't give that away. Just talk. And sex is more enjoyable than talking. So when you start having sex, you stop talking. When you stop talking, you're no longer interviewing. You're letting that person do the job of a spouse. When I haven't even decided, are you ready to be my spouse? I haven't said I do. I'm just saying, how do you handle yourself? How do you treat others? Ladies, look how a man treats his mother. That's an indication of how he's going to treat you. If their parents are still married, look how they interact. Because when you marry somebody, they're going to do what they know until they know what they're doing doesn't work. And that's where dating is that. If you could just be analytical, and I have one client, he tells me, he goes, you're too cold when it comes to dating. I go, no, it's just analytical. Don't let the drug take over. Don't let that mix in your brain that's exactly the same as being on heroin take over and go, yeah, I know they got a little handsy with me when they got angry, but they won't do that when we get married. It'll solve everything. Marriage only expands. Marriage only makes those small cracks worse. And in dating, you focus on every way that you're the same. When you're married, you focus on every way you're different. You're laughing because you know it's true.
Sorry.
No.
That's funny. It's
It's
true.
it's the truth, and it's because we're like this. Oh, we complete each other's sentences. Oh, you're an infatuation. Just be like, hey, I'm not going to give you that bond. I just want to know, can you do the job? And that's the interview phase. That's why I correlated relationships to business, because if you approach it the same, if you're ever a hiring manager, if you take anybody with a heartbeat, you're going to be hiring all the time. I like a very low turnover rate when I hire people. I'm very successful when I select candidates because I'm picky. If you don't meet my job description, we're done. Nice meeting you. Wish you the best, but you're not the right person for me. And I've had people, man, I wish I could hire them. Like, man, I really want to give this one a chance. And I'm like, no, I'm not hiring a charity. I need somebody that can fill this position, come in, do the job. And that's what you want to know. Can you do the job of what I need as a spouse? Are you going to support me when I'm down? Everybody does the good parts of relationship well. Most people, I think your greatest success factor is how you do the hard stuff in relationship. Are you willing to do a 6-hour conversation about a topic that you just don't see eye to eye on? If they're just trying to rush through every conversation, it's only going to get worse in marriage. Just wanted to take a quick break from the episode. Hope you're enjoying it. I would love to help revolutionize your relationship. I will be releasing The Business of Relationships, and you can get your copy on pre-order if you want to click below. Give me your information. I will alert you as soon as the book is ready. I'm working really hard to compile my 18 years of experience of studying relationships and my 30 years of business experience to help get this together in a way that makes sense, that you can build your relationship, prepare yourself for a relationship, interview the candidates for your marriage, and then successfully run a business household that allows your relationship to succeed in a way that it never would without this framework. Hope you're enjoying.
I'm picturing my younger self, and if I heard this, my blood pressure would be. Oh, my blood pressure is increasing when you talk about it, because I can feel my younger self coming out, and it almost. What would you say? With as to a younger person or any person just starting over dating, and they're in that phase and they're feeling a lot of pressure from what you're saying to do it right, and they want to do it well, and when you want to do things well, you apply pressure. But I feel like there's a certain balance to make sure you're being authentic, you're being yourself, your true personality can show, because when you put too many guidelines up and have too much of an agenda, it shows, which is not attractive, I think, to a lot of people. So what's that balance of, well, what should their mindset be to make sure that they approach it in a authentic way? Because this could be taken really literal and turn a lot of people off.
I'd be okay if they got turned off.
Yeah, I don't know. I
No,
think
if I was younger and I'm going on a date, I'm going to be like, look, I'm interviewing you to see if you have the skills that I need in a spouse.
no, I'm not. And I think that should be offensive. And if they are turned off and you do want greatness, you should be excited that they get turned off, because it's saving you time. But I'm saying to the person like the person that's going and dating, what are like the caps on like certain intensity levels? Are you saying max intensity 10 10 10 10 across the board, of like you need to show up, interview, make sure you feel 150%, and then end the date after you get confirmation and schedule the next one? Or do you feel like it should be somewhat fun and like loose? Or do you feel like it needs to be very like tight in the reins? You need to take dating way more serious. And if it's like that, then it's like that.
Depend on your personality. And if you're an otter in the disc personality, you're not going to be serious like that. It would not be fun. And a beaver in the disc personality, DISC, the C in there, they're going to be there with their list of questions. It's all based on your personality. And have fun. Enjoy dating. I'm not saying take the fun of dating away, but don't give 100% of yourself on the second date and be like, oh, this is the one. Are you sure? Why? Oh, I have the feeling. That's drugs. It's the chemical makeup in your brain that says, woo, I want to get married. I want to be with this person because we connect so deeply. After 30 minutes, we do 7 interviews sometimes with different layers through the organization when we're hiring for higher up spots because we want to make sure we get the right person. Go have fun. Go talk. I did one when I was back in the restaurant world. I went to one interview and they said, here's the kitchen, cook me a dish. And I'm like, okay, let's go. It was a fun interview because I'm like, what do you want to make? Whatever you want. And I had to feed him and the mom. And it was an Italian restaurant and I can cook Italian. And when an older Italian lady from Italy tells you did well, I got the job.
Okay, what's that exactly in dating terms, though?
Have fun. Take them where you like. Take them if you like dancing, go dancing with them.
Yeah, what's like that's a great example. What's another form of a couple different forms of like the cook whatever you want?
Yeah. Take them to the driving range. Take them to do something that they've never done before and watch them get frustrated.
Yeah.
Now I know what you look like when you're frustrated. Is that a level of frustration I can deal with when I'm married? Are they like cussing? Are they slamming things? Are they throwing things around? That's how they're going to treat your kids.
You can message them, hey, what's something that you wish you were better at?
Yeah.
And then they say golf. And then you're like, all right, cool, let's go to Top Golf on Friday.
Yeah.
They're going to go, what? Why? They'll just trust me.
Yeah. And ask every question. There's a lot of different religions have lists of questions that they offer and say, ask these questions. The LDS has, Muslims have them. And you can find them on the internet. Talk about everything. What temperature do you like to sleep at? I like to sleep at 68.
I'm looking this up while you're talking about it.
We had friends. They're like, we sleep at 80. I'm like, I would kill Angel if I slept at 80 because I'd be sweating all night and she wouldn't be able to. Dr. Neil Clark Warren, in his book, Finding the Love of Your Life, it's sitting right here, has 50 questions in there that you must ask. When I was single and in life group, my buddy's like, hey, I want to date right. And I said, awesome, let me help you. I made him a list and said, here's your interview questions. Go ask. Did you find them?
Yeah, let's do Hinduism.
All right.
Do you believe in karma and reincarnation? How important is a temple attendance to you? What role do your parents and family play in choosing a partner? Interesting. What are your long-term spiritual or life goals? Do you follow any particular guru or spiritual practice? Let's do Islam. How often do you pray and fast?
Mm-hmm.
That's straight to the point. What does marriage mean to you in Islam? Dang. What are your expectations for gender roles in the home? Dang.
Good questions, aren't they?
Yeah. How involved should extended family be in our relationship?
Good
wow,
question.
That's a great question. What is it a red flag if they say they don't know?
No, it's okay.
Is that okay?
Back to internal and verbal processor. The verbal processor is going to be like, woohoo, this is fun. The internal processor is like, I don't know. Let me think about it.
Yeah.
Let them think about it.
Yeah, you need to let them think about it.
Yeah, let them think. Because you know what? You want the real answer. Have these questions while you're having dinner. Don't talk about, and you can have meaningless conversations. They're fun. Angel and I have meaningless conversations all the time. I'm an idiot. I do dumb things. I make her laugh. That's okay. You want to laugh more than you cry in a relationship, but you want to have these conversations. If the person wants 10 kids and you want none, don't get married. You should find what you want. If you want 10 kids, go find somebody else that wants 10 kids and have 10 kids. Don't settle for somebody that wants none. And then you have one kid and you're 50, 60 years old and you go, man, I regret not having those kids that I wanted to have. I want everyone that watches this, when they get in a relationship, they stay married and they have no regrets. And they're like, you know what? I'm glad I took a little bit more time before I gave all of me. And I know my relationship's going to make it because we did the hard work up front. When I ran a program management organization, all of our bosses would push people to come in with a shorter time period and a less dollar value. And I would tell my guys, I want the truth. You go get me the truth of what you can do it for dollar-wise and how long it's going to take you, and I will fight to get you what you need. I would fight with every layer of leadership. I'm like, there, you have to cut it by 10%. I'm like, I will not. So this is what the program's going to cost. If you want to do it, this is how much it costs, and this is how long it will take. I will not allow you to just decrement because you want it to be less. We're going to overrun because we're going to take shortcuts. I will work 10 times harder up front so that later on, you know what? 99% of my programs came in on time, on or under budget. Why? Because I listened to the people that knew what it took to do it. I'm the guy telling you, take the time. I've spent a lot of my life studying relationships. I watch a lot of people do it wrong. I do marriage counseling. The county we live in Arizona, divorce rate 75%. 3 out of every 4 couples that goes to the altar is going to fail. That breaks my heart. I want everyone to be happily married. It takes a lot of work. If you're not willing to do the work when you're dating, you're not willing to do the work when you're married. And marriage just doesn't happen. It is really, really hard work over and over and over for the rest of your life. But it draws you so close that you actually feel the bond with your wife. I tell Angel all the time, please don't die. I can't do this with another. We spent way too much time invested in each other because we've done the hard conversations. We've done the 8-hour disagreements. We've never made anything personal. We talked all the time. We didn't have sex before we got married. Why? Because we wanted to talk. Is this going to work? It works awesome. And we get to give it away to others. And I have a good marriage because I've studied marriage for 18 years. I've done premarital. I've done counseling. I watched the hard side. I know how to make it. And I want you to make it. I don't do this to make money. I do this because I want happy marriages all over the world.
What goes through my head, like if I learned this when I was younger, is I would force the interest and shift it from, just speak only from how I know as a young male, which is, do I think she's pretty? Is she fun? Will she match my energy? And is she interested somewhat in the things, or understand why I'm into the things I'm into, is kind of the things that went through my head when I was young. But I feel like I didn't know how to verbally process or put words to. I wish I could tell myself, focus on those, and like if that's important to you, that's fine. But find that love for how they respond to those medium to deeper level questions. And I would tell myself, give yourself time and proximity to those people in a way where I can ask those questions over the course of a couple dates or however long it extends, and fall in love with how they respond with their body, with their words, with their eyes, with their laughing or sadness or madness, whatever, and just make sure you're finding someone that part makes you mind, body, hairs on your neck stand up. And I feel like when I see, like, even you and Angel or other couples like that are older, even my parents, like, they just get so excited about how their partner responds to things, good, bad, or for worse, and they understand it, and they're just so in love with that. And I think that is something I admire in my late 20s, that I did admire then, but I didn't know how to focus on it and like put a value on it. And that's what I would tell my younger self, because I would be able to act on that if someone sat me down and told me that, but I just didn't know what I didn't know. And I just went with the flow.
People tell you how to get a job. That's why I want to correlate this to getting a job, because if you walk through the steps as you're approaching this, I want this job, and I want this job to do it for the rest of my life. And if you spend so much time Oh, I got to get a job. I got to get a job. I got to get a job. Oh, I got to find a girlfriend. Oh, I got to find a girlfriend. Oh, I got to get married. Oh, I got to have kids. Slow down. You don't have to do anything. Yeah, you have to find a job. And a lot of times in counseling, I get women who are off put because the husband thinks his job, well, I bring money into the house, so I'm doing everything I need to do. And it's like, if you were single, would you have a job? Yeah. Okay, that's a basic requirement to live. That's not a basic requirement of the relationship. Talk about. If you want to be a stay-at-home wife, you better have that conversation early on, because if the person's like, I don't want to stay-at-home wife.
Or I don't want to work that much. I want to do a dual income and do balance like that.
Yeah.
You got to know that going in.
Yeah. I had one, my old pastor at his church, his son was going to school to be a doctor, and he wanted to be a missionary in Uganda and give it away. And he goes, he got a girlfriend. He goes, you better tell her what you want to do with your doctorate degree, because she might have a different opinion of what a doctor life looks like. And that's the conversations you got to have. Are we aligned? Do we want to do the same thing? Do we want to grow together in a way that's awesome? Do we want to do investments? Are you going to support me? And it's the differences that make the relationship work. If you're both exactly the same, one of you is unnecessary. It's the differences between Angel and I that make us work.
I got a question that's going to make your head spin. Maybe you already have it lined out, but you might. What questions would you want Brooke to ask to people that she's dating and interviewing?
Well, the number one question they have to answer is, are you willing to talk to my dad before you take me out on a date? Because you're not walking out the door with my daughter until you and I have a conversation. Yeah. So you're going to get some questions from me.
Okay, what would you, in a girl's mind and voice, what would you hope that she would ask?
What do you value? What's most important to you? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? What do you want to do for a living? Do you like traveling? What are your interests? What makes you excited? What's really hard for you to do? Can you process emotions? Do you know how to cry? Do you like to have fun? My daughter's an otter. You better be fun. You better like a long story, because she's going to tell you a story, and she's going to tell it to you loud, and she's going to tell it to you animated. Do you like it? If not, get away from my daughter, because she's not the one for you.
What do you think Angel would tell her to ask? Or would want her to ask? What's the Angel voice?
You love your mother? What do you think of girls? How do you view women? Are they your equal? And a lot of guys think women are less than. Angel's a strong, strong woman.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
It's scary.
And I love it in her. Strong plus strong equals stronger.
Uh-huh.
And Angel wants a man for Brooke that's going to value her in the way that I value Angel, and her strength and her equality. Angel is my equal in every single way. Angel will challenge me. Angel will push me. Angel will take care of me. But Angel is never less than.
Did it ever, at any point in you guys being together, did you ever struggle with the ways that she would challenge you? Did it ever off-put you at first and you had to internally process it?
We didn't read internal and verbal processor. We got married, and for the first year and a half, we'd get in disagreements, and she's like, "You're conflict avoidant." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Stop talking, and I'll have the conflict." And it took us deciding, let's try something different. And it used to put both of us off. We get mad at each other because I'm like, she just keeps pushing, and she doesn't give me an inch of space. And she's like, this guy just won't engage in the conversation when it's a tough conversation. I'll have any tough conversation you want. You just got to give me a minute to get ready, because I'm like, okay, I got to go through my process. I got to close down all these open windows that I have in my brain. Internal processors are like a computer screen. We've got 15 applications open at all time, and we're working on multiple ones. And when I need to pull the Angel file up, I got to close and save all my work. And until I do that, I can't pull the Angel file up. I can't focus. And once I got the angel file up, let's go. We'll talk about it. I got my notes. What do you want to do? But every relationship I find is one internal and one verbal. One introvert, one extrovert. Differences is what makes your relationship work. Find the differences and say, how do these differences make us better together? And if you're Christians, I always say the question you have to answer is, are we better together for Christ than we are separate? If the answer is yes, proceed. If the answer is no, stop.
The knowledge and teachings in chapter 2, you want the person to understand how to interview, the dating process, the right questions to ask, the right things to think about, to take it serious, to have fun with it, and be intentional. Is there any other aspect, or does that pretty much cover what you feel like needs to be covered?
It's going to cover, and it also covers, if you're already dating, how you can get back to the interview phase.
Walk me through that.
So if you're already dating and you haven't started out hearing what I said with the approach that I'm saying, how to walk back and get back to the question phase. Because if you're playing married and you're like, I don't even know what their favorite color is, we should probably have a conversation. You make that face. When we went to the first premarital meeting of the new coaches, and there was a couple that was married 40 years.
4 or 40?
40.
Okay.
He didn't know his wife's favorite color. And Angel is like, they need us. You got to know your mate's favorite color. Why? Because it matters. If you don't know your person, they're not your person. Angel's my biggest cheerleader. Angel's my biggest truth teller. Angel's my biggest supporter. If anything bad happens to me, I want to talk to Angel. If anything good happens to me, I want to talk to Angel. So I want to share it with her. She's my person. Angel knows every single flaw I have, yet she chooses to love me. That's what I want every single person to be in marriage. When you find somebody that loves every single part of you, even every single flaw that you have, and goes, you're my person, that's a cool place to be in life.
You're making me emotional. It's like I guess that makes my eyes water because I'm experiencing that right now.
You did the hard work.
I'm experiencing the fruits of the hard work.
Yeah.
And then when you speak to it, it's like, ugh. Yeah. It's real.
It is.
It's on the other side of discomfort.
Yeah.
Like everything in life.
And marriage isn't just a piece of paper. Would you agree?
Yeah. I feel like the way I've been thinking about it and processing it is, you get to a place where you've pushed, at least for me, you've pushed on everything so much and found all the answers just to find out that when they're making you the most angry, you should be looking for the nicest thing you can do for them. And that's how you keep the ball going down the field and scoring goals. Because if you choose to plant and hold a grudge or put walls up or pause instead of kicking the ball down the road, then like neither of you are scoring goals. It's like, get over yourself.
And you're on the same team. The goal
There's
only counts when you both score together.
There's 2 seats on the bus.
Mhm.
You know, there's not a third, there's not a fourth. Well, there's, I guess you could say 3, but
There's 4 if you look at it from my perspective, because I view
well, I was thinking God. And then you two.
And the relationship to me is another being. It has needs, it has wants, it has desires.
So you're saying God, your relationship, then each of you individually?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because it's like you're tending to your business, which is your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I see you.
Yep. That's how I view it.
Okay, so really tactical, and speak to it in a concise way to like at least help me wrap my head around it. Anyone listening, to back up, if you're already dating, you're playing married, maybe you're not, maybe you've been on 7 dates and you're trying to figure out, should I continue dating them, and you want to get more serious, like what's the backtrack look like?
It's just changing the mindset and going, we've gone a little fast, but let's slow down. And if the person's like, I don't want to slow down, I'm out, why are you rushing? That should be a red flag.
Yeah, that's a giant red flag.
Yeah.
Because that's you just dug yourself in the hole deeper.
Yeah.
And then you should expect a bigger outlash.
Yeah.
Or that's not the right word, but
Yeah, but if
lash out.
they're lashing out because you want to slow down and you want to actually talk.
That's why you're slowing down and backtracking, is to find those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. And you see how your partner reacts. And you get them aligned and say, look, we've got to decide, are we going to make it? You got to decide when you're dating, do I want to be in the 50% that makes it, or do I want to be in the 50% that fails? I've never met people going into marriage that say, I want our marriage to fail. They all think they're going to make it. And in premarital that I've done with people through the 18 years, I can count on one hand how many couples have got divorced. That's a pretty good track record. I'll put that up against anybody else. And that's not. People break up. Guess what? It's cheap to break up when you're single. It gets real expensive when you're married. Lawyer fees, $30,000 on average. 401k is going to be broken. Half of everything you have is going to go to your partner. Think about those things up front. When you're married, your income's one. How's your partner handle money? You okay with that?
That's a good first date question.
Yeah.
Maybe that should be second.
Second, third. Pull a credit report and hand it to each other. You can't lie on a credit report. You can't say, oh, yeah, I'm a great standing. Oh, yeah, 8 repossessions and every credit card you ever had went to default.
Ugh.
Is that what I want to hook my train up to be successful in life?
A relationship or an individual Carfax?
Yeah. Credit report. You can't lie. Everything you've done with your money is right there. I tell people in premarital, pull a credit report, hand it to each other. When they do it, they're like, wow, now I know where you're at. And then you can find, is the person a truth teller? Just have them tell you about their finances before. And then pull the credit report. If their words don't line up with their credit report, they're lying to you. Red flag, slow down. We need to talk a little more. You misled me.
We know how to interview. We know how to backtrack a little bit. Is there another element to this?
I think even if you're married, you can start doing some of the interview questions and figuring out where do we need to get on the same page.
Yeah, what's the test that you did in premarital counseling that showed where we were opposite and similar?
Prepared and rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's to really find out what areas you have strengths and weaknesses in your relationship.
Is that kind of like the, I guess, concept that is it the same goal you're speaking to? Is just to kind of like dive all in on those disconnects?
That is more towards chapter 3.
Okay.
Where we're gonna get into the communication style. We're gonna get into, now we're gonna evaluate it.
Well, then I guess let me backtrack. I don't want to mess up what you're saying. So if you're married, the chapter 2 knowledge would be
start talking. Start having those conversations you didn't have when you were dating. Start asking those interview questions and going, I don't really know what your goal is for 10 years from now. We should probably talk about that.
And be okay with their answer because you're already married.
Yeah. And then go, ooh, we're misaligned. How do we get on the same page? Tough conversation. Worth having.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're 2 horses pulling in a different direction, you're never going to get where you're going. Get aligned. Slow down. Stop. Relationship is nothing but hard conversations over and over and over again. Get comfortable with them. Then they're not hard conversations. They're just conversations.
Is there another element?
No.
That's really just single, dating, and then married. I mean, that's the only 3 attacks.
Engaged is probationary period. Next time we'll talk about chapter 3. That is the probationary period. And you're entitled to a little more benefits, but I can still get rid of you and it doesn't cost me anything. You don't get health insurance when you're a probationary period. You don't get all the benefits of the job when you're in the probationary period. But you're like, I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to let you do some of the work and see how you perform. But I still got days to get rid of you. Most places, 90 days, you get a probationary period. You can't get unemployment if you get let go during the probationary period. You don't get half the assets if you get let go during the probationary period. That's when you dive in and start doing the premarital. That's when you bring in the coach the consultant that's going to help guide along and say, how do you communicate? That Prepare and Enrich report we were talking about. There's lots of different reports. I choose Prepare and Enrich because it works. I get to really see how is your communication, your financial, family habits, and it really just walks you across a lot of different things that somebody with a third person perspective can go, this is a struggle area. Let's talk about how we're going to do it better. Now, when you go into starting your business and running it, your family Inc., now you actually have a solid foundation to start running a successful business.
The Prepare and Enrich, if you're watching, is each person in the relationship answers a bunch of questions online, and then it puts together the data and presents a report to a third party like Jason, and then he has that information and he sits down with you and goes over it, and he can pick apart the things that you guys answered totally different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very rapid way to dig in,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very fun. I'd actually like to go back through it. Me and Ariana's with you,
Yeah, happy to.
and
I have them.
maybe we should record that.
Okay.
I don't know if she'll be down for that, but
That's your conversation.
I think that would be interesting. Yeah.
And just see how you guys have grown.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because it would show growth, and we could speak to the things we did to that help those specific areas.
Every couple, as we go through the Prepare and Enrich, and it's usually over a few weeks, they're like, well, that's how I answered it back then. Now that I know this, I would have answered it differently.
Yeah, you almost like want to take it again. Like, take it again, then you have the old report and the new report. Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, and you change in weeks.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I probably answer those questions totally different.
Yeah. Why? Because you know things different. We had conversations. We told you how to do it different. That's all we're doing is just setting you up for success. That helps set you up for success.
We have something to look forward to with Chapter 3 episode. Is there anything you want to leave the viewer watching?
Yeah. Don't rush into dating. Treat it as serious as if you're hiring somebody for your own company to make you successful. Give it that level of sincerity. Give it that level of scrutiny that if I choose the wrong candidate, my business is going to fail. And I just want to know, do you have the qualifications to be my spouse? And if you don't want to get married, date with the same intention. Can I be in a long-lasting relationship with this person? Because the same qualities that make you work in marriage are the same qualities that make long-lasting relationships. So spend the time and do it. You can find a love that most people never achieve in life. And that's what I want everybody to find. I'm not doing it because I'm an old fuddy-duddy and I don't know how to do relationship and you've been married too long, you don't understand. No, I do understand. I talk to people every single day about marriage, about being single, about how to find the right person. And they're like, man, I wish I would have talked to you before I started dating. That's why I want to do this, so that I can talk to you before you start dating and get you to do this in a way that's systematic, give you an approach, give you the framework to ask these questions, give you some resources that say, go look at like you did, you pulled it up, looked at the different ones. There's some really cool questions out there. You don't even have to come up with them on your own. Say, all right, cool, we're going to go through Islam. Let's do all those. We don't follow that, but cool. What would you do if we were doing that? All you're doing is learning the person. That's what dating is. Keep talking. Never stop talking. And then when you roll into a relationship, you already are talking. So you keep doing the hard work that you need to.